The VO process is not one that a lot of people have a lot of visibility into.
The world of voiceover is really exciting and very in-depth. Good voiceover is like a breeze blowing through. You don't even notice it because it feels so real and natural.
I think a lot of people think that voice acting is, oh, it's so simple because you just show up, you can show up in your pajamas.
But what people don't realize is so much work goes into that.
And I just don't think people think that. I think they hear the lines and they kind of move on with the experience of the game. And I think the great thing about that is if they're not paying attention to it, then we did our job.
So the first step that we take in voiceover is really talking about our characters. There's a whole lot of brainstorming and collaboration that goes on.
We spend a lot of time early on in story meetings really discussing, the arcs of these characters.
Because it's very important to us that our characters experience life just as we do.
If you don't believe these characters, to believe how they're reacting to things or the plausibility of their plight, then it's all for nothing.
Then the next step is casting.
Sir, Dominion ships warping in. Mengsk's flagship is leading them.
Sweet mother of mercy.
I make what I call a casting document that really highlights everything we're looking for a character. I send it out to all the voiceover agents.
We get a ton of applicants.
We're always kind of looking for people that can come in and really just, tap a certain chord, a certain emotional resonance.
Because if you get the right person, matched up to that right role, you have pure magic.
It's kind of one of those things that when it's right, everybody knows it. We all just sort of look at each other and it's a no-brainer.
Nicely done, stand by. A whole lot of work goes into that first day of recording. And I've got to say, voice actors on video games are my heroes.
These poor actors go through hours of torture with us.
They come to the recording studio not really knowing a whole lot about what they're doing, and we all sit down and talk on the couch. They'll talk about the storyline, what's going to happen to this character in game. We look at artwork together.
To see someone's conception of come to life of what the character was just totally inspiring.
Yeah, all those drawings, all that helps because it gives you a place to start as an actor.
Voice actors come into a recording studio with no props, no set, no hair and makeup, no other actors, and they perform.
I think sometimes when the actor comes in and really inhabits a character, there's things you hear in the character that you didn't really hear before.
How well do you know yourself?
You have to draw on your own personal experiences, warts and all.
You have to own your character is what you have to do.
No matter what we want going into it, no matter how much of control freaks we are, the actors always make it their own.
Hello, Kerrigan. I've been waiting for you.
I'm surprised you haven't tried to escape.
Escape? My dear, I'm afraid you've got it all wrong.
One of the most important people that I need to have with me in recording is the writer.
I think a lot of times as we're scripting video games, so often you're trying to just make the lines work and bring out maximum character from anyone in the scene.
Writing is absolutely crucial, and I think the writing in this game is what gives us all a leg up. Every one of the actors a leg up on their characters.
What I was really happy about was that the writers had also created so much more there to work with as a performer.
I don't think there are any characters in this game that are boring and bland, from the hero down to the vilest of the villains. That would be me, of course.
I was called upon to serve the greater interest of humanity. Personal power was never my goal.
The character of Mengsk is always this big anchor for the series. You got all these crazy aliens and all these desperate heroes, and Mengsk is right there in the middle, kind of manipulating everything.
Mengsk mesmerizes me. He justifies for himself all of the ends that he goes to save his kingdom and save the people.
I wanted him to have just incredible power and weight, even though he wasn't this alien demigod. He's just this politician who will go to any length to get what he needs, right or wrong.
An actor can't just go out and play bad. You can't do that. You have to have some justification. If Arcturus is egomaniacal and if he's doing this all for himself, that's for others to judge. I can't play him that way.
Belay that order. We're moving out. Prepare to move away from Tarsonis on my mark.
So when James Harper came in, he walked in, he was just the man, right? I'm like, whoa, I was a little intimidated.
Well, first originally getting cast was 1997. I was really happy to have the job.
But once he fell into the character and he just started doing this kind of Virginian thing, my fellow Terrans, right? He just owned it and it just started pouring out of him like molasses.
I assure you, this criminal will be brought to
justice.
Whatever I thought the character would sound like and whatever I wanted him to feel like in terms of the script, James just put it just over the moon.
It was, I just remember thinking that how cool is this? How much fun is this to do? And I had no idea at the time it would go to where it is today.
I was really excited to get James back in. 10 years on, it was a little more grit, a little more vocal texture to his voice, and it was just perfect.
I love your gumption, son, but it went way over your head. What makes you think you have the experience to...
He ain't alone, Arcturus.
Raina.
When we cast Wings of Liberty, it had been many years since the original StarCraft game. We were all kind of wondering, how the original cast would do. It had been something like 10 years.
In the case of Raynor, there was a time there where we were really looking at the character and talking about who he was and how he's going to evolve in these new chapters.
When I did the first game back in 1998, I was really not aware of the impact that StarCraft had. Basically it was a job for me.
The game hasn't been out in a long time. Should we be thinking about kind of like stars to come in? People with some name cred on the street.
It wasn't really that we wanted to move away from him. It was just that we were looking to broaden his scope.
What was interesting about coming back 10 plus years later was that there was obviously going to be an evolution to the character.
We listened to all these different actors, and we just realized that the original guy nailed it.
He got into that booth and just killed it.
I moved heaven and earth to bring you back, Sarah. I never gave up on you, Sarah. Don't you give up on us.
And every time we looked at the art and we heard Robert's voice, it was perfect.
I get a second chance at being part of the experience.
Robert will find things for Jim Raynor that we didn't expect, because maybe we haven't yet thought out about Jim's reaction or thoughts to this.
He's incredibly human, and I think that's one of the things that people identify with him. It's not guaranteed that he's going to succeed. He's come from a very, very tough life. And as a person, I've been there. I've been to those dark places. I've been depressed, sad. I've had loss in my life. And you just allow all of that to come to the surface.
Tychus, what have you done?
I made a deal with the devil, Jimmy.
We all got our choices to make.
I'm so glad that he came back in, because he is just the heart of the whole thing, and just that texture and richness of Raynor's voice, it's just kind of this anchor point through the series.
To wake up in the morning and know that I get to go down to the studio and be the voice of Jim Raynor, I mean, come on, to be honest with you, that doesn't suck.
The killing will never stop until Minsk is dead. I'm going to make him pay.
That's enough of that.
It's the sound of the voice that tells you almost more about who that character is. With Kerrigan, with so many different layers to her. She's maybe the most complex character in any of our Blizzard storylines.
My first thoughts of this character, that it was going to be so much fun, because there was such a wide range.
We knew that this was a very tragic character. So in Wings of Liberty, we got to see her being left behind and being abducted by the Zerg. And then we also knew that she was going to evolve into this Queen of Blades, this very vicious, cunning figure. And we needed someone who could play both sides.
So that was just such a vast array that as an actor, you want those type of roles.
When we had Trisha come in and audition, she just hit a vocal sound that just broke our hearts.
Jim, are you out there? I need you. I need you to hear me right now.
She's just such a well-rounded character, which you don't often see in video games. You often see you're the good character, you're the fighter, you're the evil, you're the alien, this, and she's now all of it.
Of all these changes that she goes through, and all the emotional layers that she goes through, it was critical that you had a voice that could ease you into all of that.
Now in Heart of the Swarm, she's been de-Zergified, but she remembers some things, but not everything. So there's a lot more vulnerability because she's lost.
She's, a woman who's been really beat around by life, and is desperate to kind of find her core.
There's a mission to her and to her life and where she has to go, but there is so much vulnerability to who she is. She doesn't know who she is anymore. She's strong, but she's got all this guilt and anger bubbling.
The lawless terrorist, James Raynor, is dead.
The sound of her needs to be very, very specific, and the range of emotions we, can project are going to be very, very specific.
The voice isn't that different. It's not like, I'm sweet for Kerrigan and I'm mean for Queen and, I'm somewhere in between. It's the same, it's just the intention, but you do try it different ways and then the character develops from that.
I'm coming for you, Minsk, and you won't have any hybrid to protect you.
She needs to sound human above all else. She needs to sound like just someone that could live next door. We felt that Trish has just absolutely hit that and really brought, a level of emotionality to Kerrigan that is critical in terms of the end user, the player ultimately really identifying with the character.
Kerrigan is such a story. I just find it really, really intense, her story in this game. So I can't wait to get the fan reaction from Heart of the Swarm.
For I am the Queen of Blades.